Well, hello there, everyone. How are you doing on this super Saturday? It's Saturday, December the 10th, year 2022. Yeah, my hair is sticking up a little bit there, I think. Anyway, I hope you're doing outstanding. I'm going to talk to you about a little bit. Excuse me, I don't edit, remember that. I'm going to talk to you today why, as an investor, personally, I think it's better to rent your home to live in versus buy that house. However, that is up to you, and also depends on where you live at too, because that can make a difference as well. But anyway, without further ado, and I got a rough voice again today for some reason. But anyway, I'm not, how correct, I'm mazske finance. I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do. I give you thoughts from this little brain matter up here, and I share experiences and tell stories, etc., etc., etc. So anyway, why would I say it's better to rent versus buy? Let's just say if you're trying to live the American dream. When I was growing up, I don't know, it's from my parents, from the TV, from books I read, I'd always hear about the American dream, buy that house with a white picket fence and a garage and 2 kids and a dog and this and that. It's my daily cup of mud water. Not coffee. Mud water. WTR, mud water. So I'd always hear, the American dream, you buy your house. I've seen arguments why it's better to buy your house to live in because then every month you pay the mortgage, you get equity, which is true. But as an investor, it's a little bit different. Because to generalize, for the most part, you can, in most areas, rent cheaper than you can live somewhere. And you might say, whoa, Maskey, you're wrong. And you might say that because you might look around and say, well, to rent a comparable house to what I just bought, it will cost me $2,000 a month. But my mortgage is only $1,400 a month. Okay? That's true. But even though your mortgage is $1,400 a month, how much do you have to spend to repair your house? And let's say, because it's your house, but let's say you don't you don't spend it every month, you spend it periodically. But almost everyone, when they buy a house, what do? They buy their furniture to fix it up. They fill the space. They buy. But then the toilet seat cracks, the faucet starts leaking, shingles come off the roof, whatever it may be. You start spending money, and you spend more money, and you spend more money. And I remember in the area I grew up in, there was a house I'd pass if I drove back to see my dad. It had a little sign out that said the Money Pit or Money Pit Manor, something like that, because their house was a money pit. My house in Virginia, I spent a lot of money over the years that I barely had to just get that house to living standards. This house here, I spent a lot of money on this house, getting it to become a nicer house. Well, let me throw out, if you rent, you can rent a nice house and you don't have to fix anything in it. And depends on where you're at, depends on what dollar amount you're renting at. Also, it is possible to rent houses that are fully furnished. And if you rent a house that's fully furnished, that makes the process of moving a lot easier because just pack your suitcase, right? But I've been thinking on it because I'm talking about moving to the country of Panama. And I'm talking about renting while I'm there. And I was telling the missus earlier, it's like, if we can rent a dream home, let's just say, or maybe not the perfect dream home, but a very nice home with a pool and maybe a view of the water. And if we get like the area, the neighborhood, we don't have any neighbors that bother us, the yard's nice, and the rent's reasonable. The rent, I guarantee you, will be cheaper than my mortgage on this house here. So if I rent it and I pay every month, odds are the landlord there will want to keep me because we're not wild partiers. We don't destroy the home. We'll take care of it. Something little, I might even fix it, So I'll take care of it. So they might like to keep me. And I might stay for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And meanwhile, while I'm staying there, if I sell this house and make a chunk of money, I put it in the bank. I put it in a bank now, and I want to throw something out here that you might like. I'm going to put a link below about this. How would you like in your savings account right now, if you have a savings account, would you like it if you could get 3.8% interest? If it was insured, the FDIC insurance. If it's not a CD, it's not locked up for 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. It's a savings account. You could put the money in and withdraw it at any time you want. 3.8%. How does that sound to you? To me, it sounds pretty good because we've been living in a time period where savings account rates, even in some banks currently, savings account rates might be 0.5%, half a percent, half of one. And that's not good. But how would you like it if you could get 3.8%? As I said, I'll put the link below because the bank is one that currently is paying 3.3%, okay, which is pretty good, right? 3.3% for a savings account is pretty good. But if you use the link that I put below, you'll get 0.5% extra. It'll be 3.8%. And you'll get that for 3 months. But if the Fed keeps raising rates at the end of 3 months, maybe the rate stays the same, or maybe it goes up to 4 or something. I don't know. I can't predict the future, right? So anyway, what is that bank? Mazske, talk to us. Okay, that bank is Wealthfront. 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 If you have a savings account at all, and you're getting 0.5%, 1%, 1.25%, in my humble opinion, you'd be silly not to open up an account at this bank. Because if you're getting 1%, you might be thinking, oh, my local credit union on the corner is paying me 1%. If you get 3.8%, that's almost a 4x return over your 1%, right? It's almost a 4x return. Yes, granted, your savings is a smaller dollar amount perhaps, but if you're a real estate investor, you need to keep cash reserves. And if you have $50,000 in reserves, wouldn't you rather be getting 3.8% than be getting 0.5%? I mean, do the math. It's better. So we get back to renting versus buying. If you own a house currently, odds are good, unless you just bought it in the last 12 to 18 months. If you had it longer than, say, 2 years in the United States of America, odds are good that the house has gone up in value. You know, you may have trouble selling it now because the market's slowing down, but if you do sell it, you could probably make a chunk of money, a little bit of money. If you've lived there for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you got more equity, you can make even more money. If you decided to rent, could you sell your property? I'm throwing this out because this is what I'm doing. Could you sell your property, put the proceeds in the bank to get 3.8%, 3.5%, 4%, and let that interest accumulate in the bank account? And now you're not paying your mortgage of whatever dollar amount you're paying, and maybe find a house to rent or an apartment to rent. Maybe it's the exact same dollar amount of what your mortgage is, the exact same. And maybe it's even fully furnished, so you can sell all your stuff that you have in your house, right? So you don't have to worry about it. But if it's the exact same rent, think how much money you're saving. If the rent is the exact same as your mortgage, think how much money you're saving, because you are now not responsible for any repairs at all. You may or may not even be responsible for cutting the grass. All depends on your landlord. You're not responsible if the roof goes bad. You're not responsible if something clogs up, as long as you're not guilty for clogging it. If the AC breaks, if the furnace breaks, you're not responsible. The landlord will fix it. Okay, so you'll save money. But a lot of times, depends on where you're at, you can rent for cheaper than you can buy. So if you're currently paying a mortgage and you're an investor, I think you are unless you're house hacking. House hacking is the only exception, is what I say. The only exception. Or if you're maybe in the military and you bought a house and your military BAH is paying your mortgage for you, and you're going to stay there 3 years. At the end of 3 years, maybe rent it or sell it to other military members. Okay, maybe that's okay. So house hacking is okay. You live in a house, you rent a room, you live in a duplex, you rent the other side. But for most investors, especially if you're in the beginning stages, if you have bought a single family home, and because it's the dream, right? It's your dream to own that single family home. If you bought it, you got a mortgage on it. I dare say, I think you might be better off selling it. And yes, I know we might be in a tougher market now to sell a property, but I'm generalizing here. Selling it and renting someplace, okay? And odds are good, you could probably rent cheaper than you pay your mortgage, and you're saving even more money then. And then you put your money, you follow that link below, and put your money into Wealthfront and get 3.8% interest, and you're sitting pretty. And maybe you'll come down and join me in Panama if I make it there. So anyway, what do you think so far? All right, so that being said, Mazske is going to sign out, and Mazske will come back with you probably tomorrow or the next day with another video on another topic. So until then, stay safe and keep loving life. Mazke's signing out.